Hey, James. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to the remote planning board meeting of June 2nd, 2020. We're going to forego the Pledge of Allegiance. Looks like we have, I think we have a quorum of everybody here tonight. I don't think we need to appoint any alternates. I think we have all full members on board. I'll start with a roll call of members present. Michael Croto, Chair.
Kimberly Queenan, Chair. Vice Chair, sorry. Long day.
Kate Stevens, member.
Josh Smith, member.
James Buffetti, member.
Ron Stevens, member.
Kevin Lynch, Selectman's Rep.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody. Tonight, we have a couple things on the agenda. Hopefully this won't be too much heavy lifting this evening. But before I get started, I'll just, I'm going to do what we normally do in a meeting, which is the public input on non-agenda items. Are there any members of the public listening out there who wish to be heard on any non-agenda items, not on the agenda this evening? And if there's no,
There's only the members on the call today so far.
Okay, thank you. Hearing none, we will at this point close public input on non-agenda items and go to the first order of business this evening, which is number 124 Hillcrest subdivision, Brookfield Acres, review easement for open space. Is the applicant on the call?
It does not look like.
Yeah, not that I see, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we know, I guess Joan isn't with us right now, but my understanding Mr. Charbonneau was going to be joining us this evening, but maybe he hasn't gotten into the meeting yet. Okay, well, I guess there's nobody out there for Hillcrest subdivision. So I guess I'm gonna skip to the next one, which is the work session, conservation open space development, zoning section 575 and 5757 open space requirements. Jay, did you want to start us in on this one?
Yeah, I mean, really not a lot to report. I was planning on, preparing some draft amendments for our meeting on the 16th. So not really a whole lot to say on it. Obviously, that's the subject of the covenants that we're looking at. And I think a lot of our conversation around a need to take a look at the ordinance really did result from this experience, this recent subdivision experience. So at this point, I have not put together a draft, but I do plan to for the 16th, and I will have something out to you in advance of that meeting.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Who's got gas?
What's that? This is my second meeting, and doing this now. I should be doing this full time. Anybody have anything to talk about? I don't know. I thought we had, but they're not on. So, do you have anything to add?
I suppose if anybody had any questions, I mean, it is awkward to address, the covenants without the applicant here. I don't know if it makes sense to do that. I suppose if anybody had some questions or concerns, at least we could note them and convey them to the applicant.
Okay.
Well, real quick, the only question I have, it was the only changes you made, Jay, were basically that they would need planning board approval if they're gonna build something. that-
Yeah, there were a couple of changes that were made. I can't seem to share my screen. Is it possible that I can get authorized to share my screen? Like, oh, there we go. Let me try this. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Can we see the Declaration of Covenants?
yes.
Yep.
So, of course, this is what was originally posted. We did have some comments and concerns. Obviously, we could address anything that we wish, but I'm going to scroll down to where you see the highlighted changes. So, the first change was to what was originally proposed was that they have increased the public access. So public access is provided to the property basically in the area that is, we're looking at C. So proposed access easement, railroad right-of-way for the benefit of the town, the trolley, blah, 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 for any area. The focus here is the trolley access area and area of the property located easterly of the public trolley area shall be open to the public. This was in response to some of the concerns, and this is one of the things we're going to address. We're going to clarify, or I should say, they propose that we clarify when it comes to looking at the ordinance. But there was concern expressed about public access in the dedicated land. So this was a way of addressing that, at least in part. So in essence, this provides public access to the area other than the portion of the property that was proposed for agricultural use. If you kind of have a visual of the property, there is that railroad right-of-way that kind of separates the portion of the property towards 3A from the portion of the property that is, I'd say, towards Hillcrest. So that was the first change. And then there was, you may recall that, where am I? I'm not seeing.
Miss.
Oh, you know what the issue is I'm not seeing I'm not seeing the colors on this. So at any rate, the other concern that was expressed was we had talked about the possibility of building a barn on the property. But then the question came up, well, what does that mean? What do outbuildings look like? How big are they? Should we have some sort of limit in the language of the covenant? That seemed a little unwieldy to construct because we really didn't have, well, we did have conversations around building a barn. We didn't have conversations around how many square feet it should be, what the dimensions should be, where it should be located. Are there any other outbuildings on the property that are allowed? The septic system was a new one. So the suggested language here was rather than try to do that and try to craft those kinds of limitations, was simply to say under B that you are allowed to build a barn or ancillary structures or improvements as noted here, as well as a septic system. Both, however, are subject to planning board approval. So, excuse me, they could do it, but in order to do it, they would have to prepare a plan and they would have to come back to the planning board. Those are really the two major changes.
Jay, is there any way you can share this by email to all of us?
This document, yes, you can. But if you, I would need to step away briefly from the screen. If that's okay with you, I will go do that.
It doesn't have to be done now. It can be done later.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
happy to.
Thank you.
Because I think Joan did email, there was an email a while back, Joan did email us all of the covenants and the deeds, easements.
Yeah, and they should be posted on the site as well.
Right.
So if anybody can access the site, they're there.
Okay.
So actually, real quick, I'm sorry, Jay. For section 5C, that's where you made a change.
I didn't make the change, the applicant's attorney did, but yes,
Oh,
that's where the change was made.
Okay.
And the main change was originally, there was no public access provided to the property at all. And so that was the main change, was to say, yes, there is within that portion of the property that is easterly of the trolley.
There's a question on that, though. I have a question. That is owned by PSNH, okay, or Eversource, the right of way now. Normally, if they're going to deed that back, what's happening here, you allow them to walk from Hillcrest Road over Martell's piece, then you got Tom Levesque's piece, you got the McQuestion Farm piece, and then you got this piece. If they wanted to sell that right away back to those homeowners, they should be able to. That's been done in the past.
I believe this isn't a Eversource transmission line right away. This is a former.
It's with the trolley car at the time. There's another group that owns that. But in the past, they used to be able to deed that back to if they're not going to use it, they allow the owner of the land to get that back. By putting this right away over other people's land to get to this piece can be questionable.
This doesn't do that. The right of way, the former railroad right of way is not an active easement. It's owned by the property owner. So it just showed on the plan because it was a former right of way. And
Okay.
so the request was that that former right of way continue or it be dedicated to public access. It doesn't impact, though, access on any abutting property.
No, but it may want to get rid of it in the future. The abutting properties may not want it on theirs. If they turn it back to them, they have a right to do that. It's a question. That's why I'm questioning it, because there are many cases on the trolley car where the owner had owned it. Okay, there was a right of way through it, but they normally will divert the right of way back to the previous owners or the owner of both sides of the right of way. It cancels it out. Just saying, okay, because it's not being used for what is intended to be used. Now you want to take that right away and use it for public access to get to somebody else's property. Okay, that's the question I have. It's a legal one, I take it. But I just want to look into that a little bit more.
Okay.
Well, with this being an open space development project, does that make it different, I guess, was the question.
Well, the former railroad right-of-way is called the former railroad right-of-way because it is no longer a right-of-way. It no longer exists as there is no easement, there is no right-of-way. It simply used to exist, and it showed on the plan.
And on the tax maps.
Right, and it shows on the tax maps. It is owned in fee by the property owner. There's no reversion
Okay.
to happen. So it's already owned by the property owners, at least certainly in this case. So in the master plan, there was a recommendation that that old trolley right-of-way should be preserved so that in the future, a trail system could be developed. So that's the reason why the planning board requested that that former railroad right-of-way be retained as a right-of-way for future public access, even though we know that you really can't get to it from the abutting properties now. Should those properties ever be developed in the future, there may be an opportunity to extend it. So that was the thinking, and that's why the board made the request.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it's not accessible still. There's no way to get to it. To get to this right away, unless you come down from the top to the hill.
Right.
Okay. Just want to make sure it's not, allowing people to walk the track all the way through,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I think Kim has a question.
And I have a question, or?
Yeah, it's Kim.
Yep.
Do you mind if we review 3A? I'd like to read it in its entirety, or have Michael, whoever wants to read it, but I think when we left, and I just want to get everybody's idea and feeling about this, when we left this sort of agreement on the table, after giving concessions for the open space and making smaller lot sizes up on Hillcrest, and it's way back, I know it's been a long time, but as everybody was leaving the room, it was like, we will leave the open space development lots because we want to have one barn so my granddaughter can ride a pony or something to that extent. When I read A, I'm now seeing agriculture activities, which may include animal husbandry, what is this, floriculture, horticultural activities, for the production of plant and animal products for the domestic or commercial purposes, the growing, stocking, cutting of sales of Christmas trees or forest trees of any size capable of producing timber or other forest products, and the processing and sale of products produced on the property, such as pick your own fruits and vegetables and maple syrup, provided, however, with such restriction of the deed. I'm just saying we left with this idea and sort of agreed one barn, the girl could ride her pony, and now it's turning into maybe a business on 3A, and I just have a concern about this. And I just want to understand see if anybody else has that concern. Because to me, open space means open space. That's why you donated it, to get the smaller lots up further.
That's why I like to read this thing a little bit more. I'm having thoughts about this too myself, Kim.
Yeah.
Because I know all the other open space developments we've had wasn't allowed to have development on it as well.
But
In
also,
this case here, we're leaving
but if the law says
agricultural
he
use.
can, I want him to be able to do that. I'm not against this. I just want to
Who owns
understand
it?
open space itself.
Is this going to be owned by the owner?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the difference between open space and this piece right here, by definition. Okay.
I think this is why we need it's Kate.
Yep.
This is why we need the applicant here, because I thought that they were already using this piece of the property. I thought McQuestion Farms was already using this piece to grow like zucchini or something. I thought they were already using parts of this.
They always have, okay? And it's plowed up now, it's being used now. Okay?
I thought that that's what this just covers,
Right.
for them to be able to continue using it that way.
Yeah.
As long as it's, again, I think it's just, again, we had the idea of one barn. Now, if it's a third party using the field, okay, I understand that from agricultural, but as long as it doesn't turn into maybe selling, having a farm stand out there, I just think it defeats the purpose of the open space that we agreed on. But again, if it's legal, then it would be fine with me, but that's why I just want the clarification. I didn't hear that last comment, sorry.
I didn't say anything yet.
Oh, okay.
I want to read it.
And
I
what
was just gonna say,
frustrated me too was the septic system all of a sudden showing up. I mean, it's supposed to be a barn to ride the horse,
The barn, you don't need a septic system in.
What might be prudent is to, perhaps we want to continue this to the 16th so that we have the opportunity to
concur.
have the applicant
Right.
here and, who could answer some of these questions.
Okay.
So again, I'm not against it. I just want to make sure if he's allowed or to do it, that's fine, but I just want to make sure. That's why I wanted to see the definition.
Okay.
All right,
Can I make a motion to continue this to the 16th?
you certainly can.
Second.
Who was that, James?
Yep.
James and Kate. Sorry,
James
taking
and
notes.
Okay, I have a motion to continue to June 16th. And I have a second. Do I have discussion? All right, all those in favor of putting this on for June 16th, roll call signify by saying aye. Michael Croto, aye.
Kimberly Queen, I.
Kate Stevens, aye.
Kevin Lynch.
Josh
James
Smith.
Buffetti, aye.
Okay,
Ron Stevens, aye.
No, raise your hands.
I got mine raised.
Okay, good.
I can't see you, but I got mine raised. No, I'm just kidding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, okay, so motion, it looks like motion passes 7-0-0. Am I correct, or?
Yep.
Yep.
7-0-0. All right, so we will put this on for the 16th. We'll probably have the applicant come in to help us to clarify some of these issues. And I know that Jay is going to provide us with some stuff on open space development as well. So we'll look forward to that discussion, I guess. Okay, thank you. Next. This is definitely a better agenda than it was last night. I'll say that. Let's see. Okay, committee reports. Does anybody have any reports from any committees? Kim, do you have anything to add for NRPC?
Yeah, let me find it. Give me a second. I wrote it somewhere. Oh, here it is. The quarterly NRPC meeting is on Wednesday, June 17th, at 30 Temple Street in Nashua, New Hampshire. Heritage Commission has had no meetings due to the COVID virus. And the Litchfield Historical Society, although not a town department, I just want to let you know there was a memorial service. We had to keep it limited to a couple of veterans and the scouts to raise the flags and put the wreaths in the Merrimack River for the sailors who died at sea. And we had wreaths at the monuments for all wars. So we had to keep it small because of the COVID restrictions of a minimum of like 10, 20 people together. But we did not forget our heroes. I just wanted everybody to know that.
Thank you.
Kevin, anything from the Board of Selectmen?
No, they don't want to meet anymore, it seems like.
Okay,
I
well.
try to get dinner say every 2 weeks, but my God, somebody put a holiday in.
Great, thank you for the input. We had a capital improvement committee meeting last night, which I was on. And
It was a short one.
Yeah, I did. Jay was also on it. We talked about the school. I know there's been a lot of talk in town about Griffin Memorial School. There's a proposal in the work to possibly build a new school in the future. Possibly. It would have to go to town meeting, obviously. But the big issue, I think, was amongst the committee was if that does happen, what's going to happen to the old Griffin Memorial School? And there's been a lot of discussion of whether or it should be an SAU, whether it should be the site of the new police station. There was discussion whether it has any viability because it sits in a floodplain, and there's a big issue with that, and there's asbestos issues and so forth. So there's a lot of discussion going on right now within the Capital Improvement Committee how we want to, what we want to do with that building. And I talked to Jay today, and Jay can chime in when he wants to. And he suggested perhaps with this on the with the Griffin Memorial School is being built and the space needs and all that, if we could possibly, maybe the planning board could do a survey to see what the public sentiment is regarding what this building may be if the school decides to move to a new location. Another idea was a recreation center or a senior center. Is another possibility of what it could be. So I just wanted to throw this out to the planning board, get your thoughts. Might be helpful to sort of get an idea of what people in town are thinking. Jay, if you want to add to this, certainly do so.
Yeah, just a couple things to add. Just in terms of context, the next chapter of the master plan that we're working on is the community facilities chapter. And the reason we chose that was because the CIP was in process. So it would be through the master plan process, I think that I'm suggesting that we would do a survey. So we would definitely talk about some of these alternatives, maybe throw in some other questions as well, related to some other facilities that might be on people's minds. And then, just to also add to the mix, we obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but we also have a proposal for a new police station. So one way or another, whether there's a new police station that's adjacent to the fire department or there's a new police station, perhaps Griffith Memorial School or elsewhere, we also have to figure out what to do with the space that the police will be leaving behind. So we have a few things kind of in play, and at some point we're going to want to make some decisions around it. It'll be really difficult for any project to move forward without addressing the question of what happens to the space they're leaving. So that was a suggestion, and if there seems to be a consensus around that, I'd be happy to put together some potential questions and share it with the board.
So I think this would tie in nicely with the, I think, as Jay said, with the community, facilities chapter. And I think it's a nice segue into, because this is going to be an issue that is going to actually be coming up very soon. And I know that the school is moving on this, and the police department is considering building a new building. That's another question. So if the police department moves, are they going to have it's going to be a separate facility, or is it going to be connected to the fire department? And the question then becomes, what happens to the old police station? Does it become an SAU or something else? So these are things to think about. I don't know if the board has would like to, add some input into this. Certainly, I welcome your input, and I want to kind of be, I want to provide you with this information because I think it's important. The capital improvement plan and the planning board, I think, are, in sync with this. So, and I think it's important to be in sync with what's going on with both boards.
So, Michael, you mentioned a survey.
Yes.
How do you facilitate that?
It would be online. We would do an online, opinion survey. And my assumption would be that we would, if everybody's willing to do it, then it would, be on the town website. It would go out by social media, and hopefully spread that way. Probably there's an email contact list we could send it to also. We could notice it on cable.
Right. Well, I'm assuming we would.
Vacations are canceled anyway, right? So we'll all be home this summer.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
And I know we've done this in the past. The planning board did this a couple years ago when we worked on putting together the map for the zoning in Litchfield. And I know we did a survey that actually went out to the town. I think we were like we did one at the Strawberry Festival. We had people at the Strawberry Festival talking with the community. I think we did something at the town hall, if I recall. But there was a survey that was put out to what people wanted to see in terms of Litchfield, and I think it had to do with the whole issue of businesses and versus the community development and stuff like that. So it was certainly very helpful. I think it helped to give us an idea of what people in Litchfield were thinking at the time, to promote different ideas. And so the survey can be helpful. We have done it in the past. So. I think we used SurveyMonkey. I think that was the.
Okay. Is it kind of open? Was it open-ended or was it like some multiple choice? Is it like, I just know I have experience with some of these, and if you don't put them together well, they lose their value.
Agreed. Yeah, I personally, this is Jay speaking, but I think while it's nice to include an other or a comment section, I generally don't like open-ended questions. So if the consensus around doing it, what I would do is just put together a draft and then get it out to you so you have a chance to see it, see what the questions are, make any changes, and of course, any additions also.
Yep, I agree.
And just so you know, the Capital Improvement Committee is meeting again on the 15th of June. We're going to have another meeting to discuss what may happen to Griffin Memorial and the old police station if things ultimately change in town and people decide to vote for a new school and a new police station. So that's going to be on the discussion for the 15th. As to other reports, the Conservation Commission is meeting this Thursday at 7 p.m. We're actually meeting outside. This is going to be a new one for me. I actually don't have to do a Zoom meeting, so that's going to be great. Get outdoors. So I'll be happy with that. And the Lower Merrimack Lower River Advisory Committee is meeting tomorrow night to discuss a big project in Hudson. I don't know if some of you are aware, there's a big logistics center or building that's going to be constructed in Hudson, or in the works of being put forward to the planning board there. And they are coming before the Lower Merrimack River Local Advisory Committee. I think they're in the quarter.
It is supposedly the largest development that Hudson has ever seen.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. And this may have regional impact. I don't know.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, it will. It will.
So that's they're coming before us tomorrow night. So I'll keep you posted on that. And that's it. That's all I have for committees. Anybody have anything else? Okay. Approval of the 5/19/2020 minutes. Did anybody have an opportunity to see the minutes? For some reason, I don't see them on the screen. Maybe they're there.
They're posted. Yeah, they're posted.
They're posted. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Did anybody have an opportunity to look at them? Do they have anybody have any questions, any comments, amendments? If you feel that they look good, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved. This is Jim.
Motion by James to approve the minutes of the May 19th, 2020 meeting.
Kim will second.
Okay, I have a second. Kim, do I have discussion?
Do you want me to vote? Because I was part of that.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, you have to recuse yourself.
I will.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call. All those in favor of approval of the meeting minutes for 5/19 signify by saying aye. Michael Croto, aye.
Kimberly Queen and I.
Josh Smith, aye.
James Buffetti, aye.
Kevin, let's go abstain.
Ron Stevens abstain.
Okay.
Kate Stevens, aye.
So the motion passes 5-0-2. Okay. Any other business? Jay, do you have anything from NRPC or anything else that you want to add?
I do not.
Okay.
Real quick. Did I hear that the next NRPC meeting is not remote?
I meant to jump in on that. It will be remote. It'll be an all remote meeting.
Oh,
Okay.
damn.
You'll get your Zoom invite.
Okay.
What's the date of that, Jay?
17th, June 17th.
June 17th. Sorry. Thank you.
Josh, you're gonna be outside again?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, I have nothing else. I thought we were going to have a discussion on Hillcrest, but that never happened. So I guess we'll have to wait till the 16th. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if anybody else doesn't have anything that they want to.
I'll second you.
All right. So a motion, do I have a I have a second. Do I have discussion?
Hurry up.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can you see me?
Opposed, abstained. All right, motion passes 7-0-0. Thank you very much, everybody, for being on the call. And we will see you all again on the 16th of June. And be well.
You too. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Take care.